Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Motorcast. Your host, Dave, and I got on line with me, drag racer Bill Houghton. How you doing, Bill?
Okay. Yeah, let me get out of the woods here. I can hear you better. Now, in like 5 seconds here. All right, go ahead. See if I can hear you now.
So we got Bill Houghton on the line. How you doing, Bill?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. So tell me something, Bill. When did you start your career in drag racing?
When did I start my career?
Yeah, when?
Well, I'm a second-generation drag racer, so I started bracket racing back in the late 70s.
So your dad was a driver?
No, my dad didn't really drive too much. He had a pro stock car called Hot Pants, and they raced that in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And he quit around. He won UDRA in 1976. And it was a Henny Colt. And then was getting not too expensive. It was getting real expensive by then. So he quit and got into street riding. And then I started bracket racing at that time. I just got my license and stuff. So then I bracket raced till late 80s, and then we started a group called Outlaw Superstock. Ran that till about 2014. Then I built this Outlaw 10.5 car, which now it's radio. It's called the Radio Wars car. And I go back and forth between the radio and the big tire stuff.
So would you say your dad was your big inspiration to get into drag racing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was at a drag show, but I was like 4 years old, so that was like early 60s.
Now, you ran this year at the Super Bowl at Route 66. How'd you do up there?
Oh, not great. We run a fast radial tire class against guys that got way more experience than me. So the only time we can really get down the racetrack on radial tires is when the track is radial prepped. And the only time they're radial prepped is when the NMCA has a race. So this year we started running locally on big tires just so we can go down the racetrack. And we started doing pretty good with that, just started to get a handle on it. But we've been running radial tire now for the last 2 times out, or 3 times out. And we're going to go to Indianapolis this weekend and run it for the last time this year.
And what day are you running up there?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the World Finals in Indianapolis.
Now you did one event this year with the Chicago Wise guys, right?
I ran with them a couple of times when Pete needs some cars. I usually jump back. Their cars are more pro-modified type cars, but they're very, very impressive. And the last time I raced with them, we did almost a half a track wheelie. We were trying to get the big tires figured out, and the thing started getting up in the air, and I just stayed with it until it. Usually, that's a rule of thumb when you're doing a wheelie. If you're not heading towards the wall or anything, you just got to stay in until it comes down on its own. Otherwise, you end up bending something in the front end. So I got almost a half track, and it was starting to go over to the other way, and I had to lift, and came down, and we just only broke a fitting off the oil pan. So we did pretty good with that.
Yeah, I did.
But we went, oxide all my life, and then I've been running these turbochargers for about 4 years now, and my God, they just don't stop making power. It's just unbelievable how they just, it's like you can drive it a mile and we'll just keep pulling. It's like the better the engine RPM, the more power it makes.
So how do you usually do against the Chicago Wise Guys?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, how do you usually do against the Wise Guys?
How do I usually do against the Wise Guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm usually probably like mid-pack or maybe just about, a little quicker than mid-pack with the group that Pete's got there. Pete's got a real diverse, nice group that are very fun to race with, and a lot of variety. So it's always fun to go on race with them guys.
Yeah, now they have one event left this weekend at Great Lakes Dragway.
Yeah, that should be pretty good. The weather's going to be nice, so that should be a pretty good race. And I think that's the last one they do for the year.
Yep, that'll be it. This weekend I've determined the champion, either Dennis Furcus or Christian Uck.
Right. Christian Uck, which car is his?
Like the purple and yellow, and the colors on it. I believe it's a Camaro.
Is that the Nova?
No, I think that's a Camaro.
Oh, it's a Camaro? Okay. I know Furcus does really good all the time.
Oh, yeah. He was champion last year.
Yeah. Them cars are very fast.
Now, when you go out with your car, how many crew members do you have?
Just one or two. My cousin Greg is always with me, and my brother comes sometimes too. But we usually, when we go out, we're prepared to take it out of the trailer and go down the racetrack. So, actually, this car, the way we run this car, other than fill the gas tank and download the computer, there isn't a whole lot we do at the racetrack. And if I get to where something goes wrong with it, to where it needs too much work, I just like to take it home and fix it at home rather than try and fix it at the racetrack.
So you do most of the mechanical work yourself at home?
Yes, I do everything myself. Casey from Performance Concepts, he does all the fabricating on the car. He did, probably built half the car since I got it. I bought it rolling many years ago, and I put the turbo stuff together. He did all the mounted turbos, the hot side, cold side, and then fabricated all that, which is phenomenal. Made the nose so it would come off, and the doors come off, and then down the road I got a Hemi for it, and then we cut it apart again, and had to redo the entire front end of it to make the Hemi fit in there, and new headers, which he fabricated all that stuff. And then me and my cousin, we finished up the firewall and everything, and did all the wiring and plumbing myself. I built the engine myself, and do all the mechanicals on it myself. Any fabrication, though, I take it to Jim Cost over at Performance Concepts.
Now, is your car twin turbo?
Yes, it is. Twin 88. It's 521 cubic inch Hemi with twin 88 millimeter turbos from Precision Turbo, and it's got a Hogan intake on it that we had made by him. This motor, I got pieces. I got the short block and the heads separately from Snyder, ADRL guy, Larry Snyder. He ran it with a blower on it in ADRL, and I changed the cam and pistons and compression ratio, and had to redo some stuff on it to make it friendly for the turbo. So basically used the block and the crankshaft. And then got new rods and pistons to be more turbo-friendly, and then the intake manifolding cam and stuff like that. I think I'm going to try a different cam next year, though. We need to step it up a little bit here.
So maybe next time you run with the Wise Guys, maybe next year, maybe you go up against Hector Laraquente with his twin-turbo GTO.
Yeah, he's got... See, that's the thing. My car's 3,100 pounds, and I have to... For the class that I run, I have to weigh 3,050 pounds. So I'm kind of at a disadvantage. All those guys are 2,500 pounds or something like that. I got about 500 or 600 pounds on them guys, and that's a lot to overcome. So, but it's still fun running with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could hang with them. It's be really hard, but I can hang with them.
So when you were starting out in drag racing, or even before when you're a kid, do you have any, besides your dad, do you have any drag racers that inspired you?
And that inspires me?
Yeah, drag racers, besides your father.
Yeah, pretty much all my life. They say Bill Jenkins is one of my favorites. Warren Johnson, Bob Glidden, all the guys that kind of did their own stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going up and buying a ride. They built their own stuff. They developed their own stuff. You know, it's just a lot of guys from the 70s. It seems like, or the late 60s. And a lot of innovation there. You couldn't go out and buy a lot of things. So I kind of lived through that and got to see it. So
what do you think?
That was pretty good memories.
So what do you think about the Nostalgia Pro Stocks that are out there these days?
Some are good, some are not. To me, the Nostalgia Pro Stocks, a good part of their entertainment is just walking up and looking at them, and I probably remember that stuff better than things that I do now. And some of them are have good memories for me, and some are they just got Pro Stock on the window, and it's not. They don't really represent the Nostalgia Pro Stock for me. Some of them do, some of them don't. That's kind of my opinion. And it looks very exciting, though, maybe to try. But it's some guys just take an old car and stick Pro Stock on the window and call it a Nostalgia Pro Stock, and then there's other guys that really go through the motions of making it look really authentic. From Pro Stock back in the day. Yeah. From like the 70s and 80s. Right. But I don't like, honestly. I mean, they're okay. They're nice cars and everything. But my personal opinion is a Nostalgia Pro Stock should not have an automatic transmission. It should have a clutch in the car. I never, ever in my life, since day one at US 30 in the late 60s, ever heard of a Pro Stock car that didn't have a clutch in it. Right. So those cars, they're basically coming up there with automatic, and they look like like a top sportsman car or something like that. Yeah, I know. There's a group out there. Some of the ones that have the clutches with the Lencos in them, and you watch them go down the racetrack, they're fun to watch. And then there's some of them that I watched go down the racetrack that it was more fun to look at them in the pits, and they should have left them there. But when they come up and, beautiful old-style Pro Stock and everything, and then they pull up there and they got their power-to-light transmission, and they run like a 9.0 or 920, I'm like, okay, you should have left that in the pits, because it just took all the fun out of watching it. Yeah. So, but, I'm from that time, people, there's probably a lot of people that don't remember from back then, but a good part of their show, and I know some very good friends of mine running that, part of their show is being able to walk up and look at everything, and then it kind of gives you a little trip down memory lane, So, they really need to concentrate on trying to do that. You know, if it's going to be nostalgic pro stock, be nostalgia pro stock. You know.
Yeah, I know. There's a few of them trying to bring back the long smoky burnouts and the dry hops.
Yeah. We used to do that in Outlaw Superstar. Actually, I think it'd be cool if somebody would make some of those nostalgia pro stocks from the first year it started. You know, before they had the Lencos and the big tires. They were like the '68 Camaro of Bill Jenkins and the Cudas of Saxon Martin and all the cars from that area. I remember when that first started. Actually, US 30 started pro stock before NHRA did, because NHRA started it in 1970 and US 30 started it in 1969. But it got big quick. But it was, there were no tubs in the cars, and you basically, I remember my dad building a '68 Camaro that he got from the auction, and stuck a roll bar in the car, stuck a Dana Rowan in the car, put a motor in it, and I think in 2 weeks they were racing it. And that's how pro stock started. And it'd be cool if they got some of those cars together, and that would be fun to watch that.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Well, there's a few out there that use a clutch, which is good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a handful of them, which is good. I'm not saying the other ones are bad. It's just got to concentrate a little more on trying to be a nostalgia pro stock rather than. And there's some really nice cars in it. Really nice car, like that Chuck Wexel car, that Team Strange car. That's a beautiful car. Just he needs to stick a clutch pedal in it. Put a clutch in it and be fun to watch.
Yeah. So,
plus, too, you got Pete with the Wise Guys, and there's cars that kind of you start looking similar to that, and now they're slower. You know what I mean? So it's gotta bring you back to the yesterday of the way they worked and everything.
Yeah. So Bill, what are your favorite tracks to run on?
I like them all. I grew up in this area, so what do you call I kind of like 41 because it kind of reminds me of US 30. What else? Like Union Grove, Byron, 66. 66 is right in my backyard, so kind of like going there. It's kind of a little corporate, but kind of like the smaller, older tracks better. But spent a lot of time at all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you like the best?
I like Great Lake Dragway.
Yeah, that's cool. That's your backyard?
Yeah, pretty much, like about 40 minutes. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, spent a lot of time there. A lot of Broadway Bob days there. Yeah. Plenty of them.
Yeah, my dad started taking me to drag racing when I was about 4 or 5 at US 30 and Great Lakes Dragway all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you done the US 30?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that just you look back at the day and that place was always packed full. They only had 5 rows of stands. So.
Yeah. US 30 and Great Lakes Dragway both when they had a lot of funny cars.
Yeah, I remember US 30 back in the day, on Wednesday nights with all the funny cars, and I remember that sometimes there'd be 10 or 12 of them, you know?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of good memories back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though they make stuff new and better and everything, it's, you forget how things were back then with the, you know, with the gravel pits and everything. But it was, you didn't think about it.
Right. So now that we're talking about tracks, I'm going to ask you like a fun little question. If someone said, here, Bill, here's $150 million, build me a drag racing track, where would you build it, and what kind of features would you put in it?
Okay, hold on a second. Say that again?
I said, someone gave you hey, Bill, build me a racetrack, here's $150 million. Where would you build this track, and what kind of features would you put in it?
Where would I build it? I'd have to give that some thought. Definitely not in Illinois. And probably a little further south. You know, somewhere where you can run later in the year. I'd have to really give it some thought. $150 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I think just about everybody's done it. I think you know, there's a drag strip just about by. I mean, look around here. How many drag strips are within 3 hours? You know, I can think of 6 right off the bat. But honestly, I would like to try and keep it pretty simple. I'd have an 1/8 mile track. I wouldn't use $150 million. I'd probably try to, actually out of all of them, probably, it'd go between Union Grove. The only reason I don't like Byron is because it's in Illinois, and I deal with Illinois crap all the time. And they like to get their hands in your pockets pretty good. So, $150 million. Probably try to do something in the area of Union Grove if you think about it.
Yeah,
I think that's probably would be a great place to have a really high-end facility there. Just from the few times that I've been back there, they could put quite a few people in the seats. All of them could really, but that would look like a pretty good place. Or maybe, you got, the one US 131 that's over there. That looks like somebody that's a pretty big place too. And I don't see the place. I don't know how well the place does. I haven't been there in a long time. But where would you put one?
I'm not even sure. Like you said, there's so many different tracks around.
Right.
And you mentioned Byron. Byron is actually for sale.
Yeah, I know. Byron, I would almost think about that, only it's just, and I've known Ron and BJ forever, it's, and man, are them two hard-working guys, jeez. Just, really, I don't think that track would be there if they weren't so determined to keep it open, and they have been, attacked by, people trying to close it, because of the noise or whatever, and thank God Ron Leake has the drive to fight it off, even I think even Union Grove had, they're trying to, the tree huggers were trying to say something because they had too many lights. They're calling it light pollution. How can you have light pollution? Really, dude?
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's just, I don't know. It's, but that's, that's kind of, we all live in our own little bubble, you know?
Yeah.
And, this area is kind of our bubble, you know? I haven't really spent much time in any other major cities to have an opinion on where I would put a racetrack. I can think of great racetracks. I mean, huge racetracks in near just about every major city that's in the United States. Other than you get past the Mississippi River, and there ain't a whole lot out there. So, but you got to look at it from a business point of view. If you got $150 million, you're going to have to put up a track that's, you're going to fill it up with a huge event at least once a year, and it's going to have to also have a circle track near it. Who does quite well is the guy up at Kokona, Wisconsin, Roger.
Yeah, that.
He's got that circle track there, and he's got the drag strip there. I think that would do quite well.
Yeah,
and he does quite well already. When we used to go up there with Outlaw Superstock, we used to people used to thank us for coming there. Thanks for coming out, guys. We love you guys. You know, it was really a nice place to be.
Yeah, I haven't been up to Wisconsin International Raceway yet.
Yeah, I mean, does Pete still go up there or no? I think they used to go up there once a year.
This year, they did not go up there.
I would, if I got that track, the first thing I would do is pave the pits, because it's still gravel. And the people there are great. Roger bend over backwards for you. The only thing I think is the ground that the track is on moves around quite a bit. And you go down the racetrack, and it's not the smoothest thing on the planet, that's for sure. It's like going out to an old country road and having a drag race. But he's got I went there one year for we were going to race, and he wanted us to display our cars Thursday night at the stock car race, and I could not believe how many people came to that stock car race. It was very exciting. Another track that was very exciting for me back in the 90s was Orlando Speed World. Earl Weisinger used to have the World Street Nationals, and then around a weekend before Thanksgiving, used to have a big race that was we used to go down and race, and that was very fun too. And he was very, very successful with that racetrack. They did just the opposite we do. They'll race till May, and they're almost closed until September because it's so hot. And then from September, October, November, all the way through, they may close for Christmas and New Year, and then they're back open again. So, then you got just about the entire year to have your racetrack open.
Mm.
So, but it's kind of entertaining to think about that.
It was good to see the World Series come back to Cordova this year.
Yes. I remember going to the World Series in the early 60s when my dad had an A-gas Willys and running in the gas deal. They had they called it Little Eliminator, Middle Eliminator, something like that. And we lived a block away from the Karamasinuses in Chicago. And I knew the kid's pretty good, and he traveled the country, like barnstormed the country with that Top Fuel dragster, and we would hang out with them at Cordova. Was very, very young, and back then it was a real race. I mean, there was no paid-in show people or exhibition or anything. It was you came there and raced, and was all whoever got there first won. There was no bracket racing at that time, and they had Top Fuel and Funny Car and the Gassers and the whole deal. And it was a very big deal, and it still is. Just got to change with the times, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing to see Chris still out there racing.
Yeah, isn't that something? That's somebody that's very determined.
Another one's like Arnie the Farmer Beswick.
What's that?
I said another old one's Arnie the Farmer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's raced all his entire life. So you look at those guys, and it's like them guys, and then who's the guy that raced NMCA? He was running like 650s at 230 in a Mustang. And I can't believe it. My mind is not remembering his name, and it's very well known. He's from Kentucky, an oil guy from Kentucky. He's probably about 84 years old. And he raced NMCA in the Outlaw 10.5 and the drag radial stuff, and he had one of the fastest cars out there. And that's an inspiration. And I was 58 years old, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, sorry about the way I staged." He goes, "Good luck, kid." So it's funny. And but yeah, you see Kermasinas, him, these guys that actually Don Nicholson, the guys just never give up. That's something that's really in their blood. And you think, when am I going to quit doing this? And you just don't even think. You think about them, and you're like, you're not gonna.
Right.
Pete telling me, he's like, "Hey, when are we going to quit doing this?" I'm like, "When we're in the box, that's when we stop."
Yeah, the wise guys are there the 23rd year now.
Yeah, they actually. I think they might have been around maybe a little longer. They started about maybe 5 or 10 years after we started Outlaw Superstock. We started Outlaw Superstock in the late '80s, and then I wanted to do the Outlaw 10.5 stuff before I got too old, and then thought somebody else would pick it up and go with it, and then recession just killed us one by one. As soon as somebody broke something, they didn't come back. But if we wanted to, we could bring it back. There's still, I don't know, 5 or 6 guys out there that still have their cars sitting in the garage. That was, we had rules, and we had winners and runner-up. We were not just exhibitions, so it was pretty exciting at that time.
Now, Bill, since we were talking about the old days, let me ask you this question. If you were able to go back in time and time travel, would you do anything differently?
What I would do is take my old Camaro with all the things I learned about nitrous and go back to about the early 90s. And man, that would be something. But I mean, you learn and you learn and you learn how to go faster, and you think, how much faster can we go? And then it just, people figure out ways, and so and so did it. That means I can do it, and they make better parts and stronger parts, so you can lean at it harder to go faster, and you just do it, But as far as going back to my career or whatever, or my past, I wouldn't change a thing. Had great fun, had great times doing everything I did. Everything wasn't perfect, but nothing ever is. But it was definitely a challenge. And I'm not stopping. It's still a huge challenge. we're going out this weekend, and it's still a huge challenge. You know, we're racing some pretty tough customers that we're going to try and be competitive with. But it's just, you know, every time you go out, you learn a little bit more, and you try and go a little bit faster. As long as I went faster than the year before, that's a step in the right direction, but I got a long way to go here.
Yeah, you were talking about cars getting faster and faster. I was thinking about the pro mods getting faster and faster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, when's that going to end? They keep taking boost away from the from the turbo cars, and they're sort of constantly juggling the three different combinations between lower nitrous and turbo, and the turbo cars are getting close to 260, and you got to have everything, the track just right, the cars just right, just to make a run without having to take your foot out of it.
Yeah.
And, you can go, well, they were going 570s, 4 or 5 years ago, but then that was turbo cars, and they just kept taking power away from them more and more and more, and then to try and keep try to keep everything competitive with the three different combinations. And but like as usual, it's just gets more expensive and more expensive and more expensive.
So do you got any hobbies outside of drag racing, Bill?
No, not really. Not really. Snowmobiling a little bit. Even though I haven't even done that in a while. My kid's in my kid's in a metal band, and it's kind of fun traveling around with that a little bit and booking his shows and stuff like that, and that's kind of fun too. It's
Well, what band is he playing?
Played in a band. It was called Central Disorder. And they used to play over in Joliet over here at a lot, and they did a little bit of traveling. They're not they made a couple CDs and stuff, but it's hard. To make it in that deal, you have to have everything just about right, and so they were together for about, I think it was like 7 years, and their music started getting real good and started to pass up the singer, and so there was a little falling out between them and the singer. Now they're looking for a singer, and he's just been recording stuff and trying to come up with new stuff right now. But it was fun, doing I did the bookings for them, and I would say the biggest show they did, they opened for Laid to Rest. Is that the name of the band?
Man, I don't know any band called Laid to Rest.
No. That was a pretty big band. There's you couldn't even move in the place. There was a place called Mojo's in Joliet.
Maybe Lamb of God? I don't know.
No, they play Lamb of God. They play a lot of, in fact, they were going to do a lot of Lamb of God covers because they were doing all their own stuff, and I'm like, you guys got to start doing some covers because people don't like to hear, your original stuff because they don't know it. So they're actually pretty good with the Lamb of God stuff. They can play it to the T. Every time they play it, everybody goes nuts.
Oh yeah, now Mojo's is the Forge.
Yes, and that guy owned Not a Brew, and that guy's pretty good. He's books a lot of bands.
He used to have a place called the Pro Room too.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, in Mokina.
They played there, actually. Not the Pro Room, but right next door. Freak from Mancow had a show there on Monday nights. And they played there one time.
So I take it your favorite kind of music is hard rock, metal?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's, I don't know, my kid's been playing it for 12 years now. And...
Well, we can get your son's band on this show and do an interview, too. That's why it's called In the Pits of Metal and Motor Chaos. It's
okay.
Music, metal music, and drag racing. So.
Yeah, it's that I tell you what, that is a hard road to go because I mean you could travel. I see these bands traveling around. Did you ever hear of a band called Silosis?
Yeah.
Okay. They opened for them over at Mojo's, and so they. We're hanging out with them in the back, and the one singer, he's like, can we, we'd like to open for you guys. What do you got to do to get on the thing? He goes, well, you want to get on the road and drive everywhere and like not eat and have no money, And they're a pretty big band in Europe, and they've been, traveling around here, and they're having a hard time. And it's in Europe, they're a pretty well-known band. And what is that guy's name? Josh?
I think so.
Yeah. So my son is very inspired by him, and so they got to meet and hang out and sign his guitar and plays a lot of his music. And right after the night they played, the next day they got in a really bad car accident and had to go back. Or they were renting a motorhome in a trailer, right. And that next day they got in a pretty good wreck, and one or two of them got hurt pretty good, and they all went back home.
So let me ask you this last question for an interview, Bill. What's been your fondest memory in drag racing?
Man, there's too many. Great memory for me was racing at a Super Chevy when we first put out probably the first race put out one Super Stock together. And we're at Mart, Michigan. The place was packed wall to wall. And I went up there. About the fastest anybody went at the year before was like, we were just starting with all this fast streetcar stuff, or whatever you want to call it, like street outlaws kind of stuff. And I just put together a motor that with just spare parts in the garage, kind of tested a tune-up, and that thing hung the wheels for like, I don't know, 200 feet, went 907, which for the time was, people like going 570 now, and the place was packed, and the place just went nuts, and I still got the tape of it. I mean, the place just, off the chain, screaming and yelling and everything. It was pretty cool. So I guess that's one of my best memories.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. It was like old school, small track, heads up racing.
Right.
I guess that's I'm most comfortable in that environment. Like Byron, Union Grove, 41, 66. I live right by it, and it's very convenient, and it's great facility and everything. But it's big.
Yeah.
It's big. It's corporate, and the people that run it though are great people. They're down to earth people and everything. But the people that own it it's all corporate, and they're not even open that much.
Well, Bill, I want to thank you for your time for the interview tonight.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
I said I want to thank you for the time for the interview tonight.
Oh, no problem.
But stay on the line, I'm going to talk to you some more.
All right.
All right.